Hello, welcome back. In this one, we're going to be going over sudo superuser do. This is a utility in Linux which allows unprivileged users to run commands as a privileged user. This is good for, let's say, you've got files in a location that you don't want users to read, but they need to execute them, or they need to read one specific file. Give them sudo access, and they'll be able to read that file in that directory without having other access, things like that. Obviously, like any good things, can also be exploited. Just a quick one, I've just recorded this once and my mic didn't pick up, so it feels like I'm going over a bit fast, things like that, or sound a bit funny. It's probably because my brain's a little bit fried from that, but we'll get straight back into it. So superuser do. Sudo allows commands to be executed as root. As I just said there, unprivileged users can then run applications or access things as if they were a privileged user. This can be exploited in a multitude of ways, from unintended, intended functionality to crafty GTFO bins and magic. Most of my exploits come from GTFO bins, but what that unintended, intended functionality is discussing, let's say an application is you're able to run a sudo can read files. So from that, you can gather, you can, as intended functionality of the program, if you're an unprivileged user, you'll be able to read files that you don't normally have access to. In the next example, we'll cover that, but there are many programs that have that sort of functionality, so it's just another one to look out for. Maybe just because something's not on GTFO bins, why it's always good to Google it and do your research, read the manual pages of commands you've got access to, and see if you can do some ninja stuff there. Generally, if upon entering a machine you see any binaries can be ran with sudo, this will be your way in and should be looked at. It's not always, not guaranteed, but if you're on a CTF box and you see sudo, it's either going to be a really, maybe a honeypot to distract you, or more often than not, it's going to be your way in. It's going to be the way you're able to escalate privileges on that machine. So the intended functionality, what I was discussing there, we're going to use wget as an example. If wget can be run as root, we can exploit this by reading files typically inaccessible to the user. So how this works is wget, you can send files to a local server, and from that it'll print the output of the file. So what we'll do is we'll start a netcat listener there, and then we will just post the file we want to read to that, and we will be able to read the output from the listener. So what I would personally do is read the shadow file, or maybe you need to read some configuration files for reasons I'm going to explain in a second. So as you can see there, although I'm running this on my machine, if on my machine I was running this as an unprivileged user, this would have the same effect. If the unprivileged user had access to sudo and they were able to run wget from sudo, they'd be able to achieve this. So the output of the shadow file, obviously you've got any of the user passwords, my user password and the root password. How I would like to use this, if I was on a machine and I had access to wget, this would be the first thing I would do, or if I had access to another application and in its usage you could read privileged files, I would read the shadow file, and then from that I put that in hashcat or John, and then I'd carry on with whatever enumeration or whatever it is I'll be doing, trying to escape privileges another way or go down every other avenue. And while that's working, while I'm working, maybe it's cracked the password, maybe it doesn't. If it does, you may potentially save yourself some time. That might have been your only way in, so therefore you've sort of completed it in a sense. If not, it don't matter. You've got other options. That's why you leave it on the background. So let's say it's not something as straightforward as wget on another application that doesn't speak to you right away. Check GTFO bins and other resources. Have a Google, have a look around, see what comes up, and check the manual pages if it's something a bit obscure or something you've not seen before. Just because it's not on GTFO bins or any of the resources doesn't mean it's not exploitable. Might mean you've just got to work a little bit harder for it. Quick one as well. The last exploit we used wget, got the example from here, exploit notes. It's a really good resource. It's not just related to privilege escalation, but just about everything exploitable really. Windows, Linux, the lot. I'll leave that in the description like I always do. I'll leave a few links there as well so you can check them out. So quick little example for you, the premise of it. Checking what we can access as sudo when we get on a box. So let's say we've just got in a shell on a machine. The first thing I will check is sudo, normally for me, and I will see what I can access. It'll ask you to put in your password. Obviously once you've done that, it'll be able to tell you what you can run. So in this case we're root, so we can run everything. Obviously you're never going to see this on a machine you've just pwned, or very, very unlikely. But on there, where it says all here, it'll tell you what you can run, if it requires password, things like that. And then all you will do from there is just go GTFO bins, see what you can look for. Okay, so let's say we've seen, oh, we can run nano with sudo. We'll go straight on here, and here we go. Basically escapes the shell, so we can run commands as a privileged user. There's not much else to it really. It's a nice easy way in. If you see this and you see like a default program or things like that, pretty big gold mine. Like you should have dollar signs in your eyes. You definitely check it out. Don't chin it off, because it could be a nice easy way in for you.